Dr. David Schiller here. We're going to start talking about fibromyalgia and its relationship to adrenal function. Now, for many of you, you've maybe been to some other alternative practitioners and we're told that you have adrenal fatigue, where they feel that you're not making enough cortisol. Now, not making enough cortisol is one of the things that can actually relate to how much inflammation you have in the body and therefore how much pain. Now, when it comes to the pain that you're having and the pain associated with fibromyalgia, what has happened is that your fibromyalgia, your pain, the inflammation associated with it, you become good at feeling more and more pain. You become sensitized to pain. So the more pain you have, the more the central nervous system reacts to that pain and actually will reinforce the pathways of those pain. Now, if there's a constant reminder of pain in the body, one of the things that's going to come to alarm state is the adrenal glands. And the adrenal glands produce cortisol to help minimize pain. Now, when cortisol gets altered, that's where you can get the alterations in blood sugar, which can alternate how energetic or fatigued you are. The alterations in cortisol can control and alter how much sleep you get. So when it comes to the insomnia, is it you're not falling asleep? Is it that you're not staying asleep? Or is it when you wake up, you still feel like you want to go to sleep? In other words, you don't feel refreshed. So cortisol can play a part in your sleep cycles, in the inflammation. Now, what I want to warn you about is that many practitioners will start looking at the adrenal glands and that they're fatigued. So they'll do what is called an ASI, or an adrenal stress index. And most of the time it's done accurately, if you want to look at the cycles throughout the day, with saliva. And you'll get the saliva test done, and they're going to look at the cortisol levels throughout the day. And for many people that have fibromyalgia, they've been dealing with this problem for so long, the cortisol levels become flat. Now, what that means is what it doesn't mean necessarily is that you don't have enough cortisol being made by the adrenal glands because the adrenal glands have become fatigued. It may not be an adrenal problem. It may be coming from the part of the brain called the hypothalamus. And the HPA axis, which is the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, is the axis between the brain and the adrenal glands that responds to stress. So much of the time, when they're finding all this inflammation in the body, the inflammation is feeding back into the brain, telling the brain to start to shut off the adrenal glands. So the result of the adrenal fatigue is not necessarily coming from the adrenal glands themselves becoming taxed, but from the reflex back to the part of the brain that controls the adrenal glands. So don't get caught in that trap of stimulating the adrenal glands with cortisol-based products. That can actually start to burn out your adrenal glands. Not a good thing. Anytime you give an end product hormone into the body, you are potentially causing more problems in the long run. So for instance, with people that take sleep aids, like whether it be melatonin or other types of end product or end stage hormones, melatonin is an end stage hormone. When you start taking it, you can start screwing around with the body's own balances of its hormones and then start to extend the problem into more complicated problems, making the problem worse over time. So be aware that when there's fibromyalgia, when there's pain syndromes, and they're starting to look at your adrenal glands, the adrenal gland fatigue is not necessarily the fatigue that should be addressed through giving the body cortisol if the cortisol levels are very low. You may need to stimulate that axis, that HPA axis, by actually going after the hypothalamus and how the body deals with stress. So how the body deals with stress we'll get into in some other posts, but just know it's not a matter of just reducing the stress. That's an important factor. But if you strengthen the body's ability to deal with the stress, that's how you're going to get the stress under control. And you do that by making the nervous system more integrated with the body. You do that by removing interferences on the nervous system. You do that by training the brain to work better, and that can be done through brain-based therapies and functional neurology, which is what we do in our office, along with then the metabolic approaches that help decrease the stress on that hypothalamus, looking for why the body has the high cortisol in the first place that led to the low cortisol over the long stand. So you have to look at all the different things, from the blood sugar issues to the inflammation that's coming from the gut problems to reducing the pain that's going on through different methods. So I hope this helps you in understanding more about your fibromyalgia and how it relates to adrenal fatigue, and is it adrenal fatigue, or is it something else, and therefore you may be treating the wrong problem, which is always the thing that's going to be extending your problem into the future and not really addressing it and getting rid of the causes of those problems. So I hope this helps, and I hope to see you soon, and make it a great day.